Highness, good morning. And our host, Peter, thank you very much for your kind welcome. On behalf of the Pacific Leadership Foundation, which together with CSC Australia and CSC New Zealand, ran the last two Emerging Pacific Leaders dialogues. And I'd just like to offer some brief comments on our current activities and future plans. There's been a significant change of funding priorities, particularly in the Pacific, which has meant that regional programs which deal with an expanded definition of security, which now encompasses climate change, food security and social cohesion, has meant that those programs are the ones that are most likely to receive attention and support. Fortunately for CSC and EPLD alumni, this has meant that the national leadership organisations which they established and run in the region have taken up the challenge with the formation of national leadership groups in Fiji, Tonga, Samoa, the Solomon Islands, Vanuatu and PNG, who run leadership training and mentoring focusing on national priorities. By way of illustration, Leadership Samoa graduated over 200 public servants, business people and NGO staff over an 8-year period on its 9-month leadership program, which was run by EPLD and CSC alumni as volunteers. In the future, the Leadership Samoa is intending to collaborate with the National University to support the delivery of various leadership courses on campus. We are delighted with plans to work again in partnership with CSC Australia and CSC New Zealand to stage a regional event, and I won't steal Brian Pickett's thunder, in October 2022. It seems the world is witnessing the critical need for ethical, effective and responsible leadership. And I believe our CSC family is in a very important situation where we can provide that. Thank you, ma'am.
Tēnā koe, Your Royal Highness, and greetings from New Zealand, land of the long white cloud, and the greatest ever sports team, the All Blacks, or Samoan B. It is my pleasure to present to you on behalf of CSC New Zealand. I want to acknowledge my fellow alumni, Dr. Julia Wharuera Mika, Dr. Renee Liang, Michelle Rishi, and Leo Pepe Ralph Elika. Our focus for 2021 in New Zealand will be to re-engage our CSC New Zealand alumni and work with our new government and other partners to host a series of pop-up events similar to those happening globally. We will also work closely in partnership with CSC Australia and the Pacific Leadership Foundation on any plans on a regional CSC program. Pending COVID restrictions and financial support, critical to this is how we can utilize technology in future programs. But I want to point out that there is a digital inequity for many of our communities that has been highlighted during COVID. So I look forward to how we can overcome this. An area that we will focus on in Aotearoa, New Zealand, is stronger representation and inclusion of Māori and other Indigenous groups. We recognise the diversity of this region and a role that New Zealand can play as a kaitiaki or steward. We are in a privileged position and believe that there are two opportunities to take us into the future. Firstly, the effects of colonisation are still being felt today for many of our people, and we would look towards the Treaty of Waitangi as a way forward, a partnership model that relinquishes power and ensures equity, especially for our Māori community. Secondly, we are gaining important insights as to how our national leaders, namely our Prime Minister, is managing our COVID response. Clear leadership and communication that is premised on Māori principles such as manaakitanga and aroha. Kindness, care and love, bringing all New Zealanders together for the greater good. We believe this will build on the legacy of your father and CSC. Thank you, Ma'am.